everyone, how's everything? You guys doing good too? I'm doing good too. Let's get on today's video session. Here we go. After this, Capcom vs. KTO, Osaka, on Nintendo GameCube. Okay guys, check it out. Welcome back on my video session once again. All this rock and roll music on my channel was woo! Woo! Yeah. Come on, let's fight in Osaka. Hadouken, Shenko! Hadouken! Okay. Absolutely mind-blowing music this is. So welcome back on my video session again today. Today we are going to be talking about the Nintendo Switch TV sales. Now, I already told you about the handheld mode, tabletop. Today is TV. Each one is representing salesman. It's pretty crazy, isn't it? How this thing actually works. It's so simplified method that works on customers, right? And it's very, very surprising how far it went doing this. I'm very surprised with it. Very, very surprised. How is actually doing that? TV. What do you think TV means? So basically, it's the Nintendo Switch goes into a docking station. HDMI cable is connected back of that and to a TV, and it brings it to a television. That's what TV experience is about on Nintendo Switch. It means you can play your Nintendo Switch like a normal games console on television. That's what it means. It's nothing else. So, is there anything really big about this? Is it really massive to play Nintendo Switch on television? Of course it is. Because if you want to play on a very large screen, even bigger than Nintendo Switch, you can play any size of your choosing television screen size. 32 inch, 40 inch, 42 inch, 50 inch, or even bigger than that. It's totally up to you. It does amazing than that. You can play on really large screens. But how do you play on it? Because on with the system, we use the G-Con controllers. Now, you can either use your G-Con controllers or you can buy a Nintendo Switch Pro game controller to play on television. You can play like that. It's really, really a powerful experience. I mean, people who enjoy to play handheld, tabletop, they also could play on television, just like your Nintendo GameCube. You could play just like a Nintendo GameCube. If you look at the past games console by Nintendo, Nintendo NES, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, Nintendo GameCube, they were specially designed for game controllers, weren't they? But the Nintendo Wii changed it a bit by using the Wii remote and nunchuck, the Bluetooth technology, as you say. And with the Nintendo Wii U, it was back on game controller, but in a different way. Because this controller was really big, and there was a screen in this game controller. So it's not going the same way as from Nintendo NES, Super Nintendo, 1060 or GameCube. It's not like that, is it? It's different. So I wouldn't say there's much to say about all these experiences to play on television. Okay, let's get something clear. What you get out of this television experience. When we play Nintendo Switch, handheld and tabletop, it's a 720p HD resolution, isn't it, on screen of the system. But when we play the Nintendo Switch OLED model, it will play on television in 1080p HD. It will do that. It gives you even better resolution. I think it gives you even a better experience because when you're playing on your television, when you play especially multiplayer in games like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Edition, you can play on a really large screen. And it's the best experience ever, isn't it, really, for multiplayer games. Without that, it doesn't create that great atmosphere, does it? Of having your friends or relatives around playing multiplayer games. It's experience like that. It's quite big, I would say, because the Nintendo Switch, now we covered, it comes in 3 game modes: handheld, tabletop, TV. It's all of these modes that is selling this system. I mean, above all, people who use a handheld mode, these, then you can come back to your home and play on television as well with the same device. The one device is all doing all this. Because one of the biggest thing about this thing is, I think two big things about this device is the handheld mode and TV. Yeah, I know this tabletop. Well, you can play on that as well. Most majority people look at Nintendo Switch in handheld mode because they want to play the machine in portable style. And then on television, you can play on large screens. It sells like that. This is how these sales are coming on there. And we know the utmost playing these games is the Nintendo game exclusives. I always say this, and I'll say it again and again. There aren't that many Nintendo game exclusives on Nintendo Switch. But the most majority of Nintendo game exclusives are on the Nintendo GameCube. They're actually on that. So bear that in mind. You're not gonna get that many exclusives on the Nintendo Switch. It does own them, but I don't think it owns the best ones, man. Because even in terms of Nintendo game exclusives and from third-party games, it's quite lacking. It's quite lacking. I mean, companies like Sega, Capcom, and some other developers are just releasing one game of their own each on the system. But when they're releasing these kind of games, even from the other developers, they're just releasing one game at a time. And when they're releasing them kind of games, I don't know, they're that interesting, aren't they? Really. But there's quite a lot to absorb on this system because, like, you've got a handheld, tabletop, and TV experience. TV experience giving you that amazing experience on television. And top of that, you're getting Nintendo game exclusives and some third-party games on there. So it's very, very big. I mean, if you don't know that, it's quite massive. What's the TV experience is doing? How much more can you say about this TV experience? Well, you can play one player, which is you're playing on your own, or you can have 2, 3, 4 player. There's a multiplayer on there. If you want more, if you want to enjoy co-ops and multiplayer, makes it even better, doesn't it? It's a great experience to play on television. And I'll tell you one thing, you will get 1080p HD resolution on the television. Okay? Do not think you won't. You will. When we're playing handheld and tabletop is 720p on screen of the system, but when we play on television, it will be 1080p HD, which is even better, isn't it? I mean, 1080p HD is it has been popular for many years. I mean, having Nintendo Switch in 1080p HD, it's pretty good. I think it's really impressive. If you guys don't think it is. Yeah. They are kind of lacking games on there, to be honest. I know we are talking about television here, experiences. There's not much more to say about it, really. The other thing is that when we talk about TV experience, I don't know if many people explain about what else you get from TV experiences. You can play Nintendo Switch games and other Nintendo systems as well on the TV. Then you got a Google browser on there. You can browse on there. You can start browsing, you know, use different websites and stuff like that. Also, you can use apps, yeah, for this system. You know, stuff like YouTube, Netflix. Wow, you can watch on big TV screen. So there's so much things you can do with this Nintendo Switch. Yeah, you're not just playing Nintendo Switch games or other Nintendo systems on there. You could do all sorts of things like I said, Google browser. You can do web browsing on different websites. You could do your shopping on there and all that stuff. It's really good, actually. And you can watch movies from YouTube and Netflix. It's quite a lot of things you could do on the television with this system. In 1080p HD. It's pretty neat. I think it's quite impressive, to be honest. I mean, what do you guys think? Because, like, you're getting all of these kind of stuff. There's some other apps as well on there. There's quite a lot of apps you've probably seen on Nintendo Switch, yeah? There's a lot of things you can do with it, yeah? As I said, yeah, you can do so much things with it, with this system, with so many different apps on this system. There's a lot of things you can do with this thing. There's quite a lot of sales coming out. So how do these actually sales come out the TV experience though? Because when we look at Nintendo Wii U, that was a television system as well, wasn't it? But it didn't do so well because the mistakes it's making. But how does this system work when we talk about TV sales? How does that work? Now, the customers know originally this was a mobile device. Yeah, they know that. It was primarily made for handheld mode. Okay? To play these amazing Nintendo Switch games on a handheld system. Yeah? And this was a pretty big thing for a Nintendo system to do, especially for Nintendo Switch anyway, because Nintendo Switch primary is really a mobile device. Yeah? And now when people heard about Nintendo Switch coming in a handheld mode, people went so crazy about it. Yeah? And they go, wow, we've got this Nintendo Switch. We can play a lot of games in handheld mode. And stuff like that. Then he moved towards tabletop. Tabletop, again, you can do one player and you can play multiplayer. You can get all the people around that screen on that system. That made it even more interesting. And then finally, they never expected this. We can play Nintendo Switch on TV as well. Wow. So this system is doing three things at one time. Flipping amazing, isn't it? Well, that's what Nintendo Switch is. Handheld, tabletop, TV. The sales are coming from each individual thing of this system. Yeah? A person who's using this system as a handheld, he can also use this system on TV to play on large televisions, which is pretty massive, isn't it? See how the whole system works. Each individual thing on this system is making sales out of it. Now, how does that work? There might be different customers for each mode. There might be customers for handheld, there might be customers for tabletop, there might be customers for TV experiences. Or the second customer can be, he can use all the three modes together. Yeah, he can even do that. It is that good. Can you see how it works? You got three different individual game modes for three different customers. Or there's one customer who will use all three modes at one time. That's tremendous, isn't it? That's how the sales are coming out in the system. Now, do you get the whole point? How the whole of this base is a different marketing for this system, isn't it? Each individual person using the mode he wants to play, or one person using all the modes together. And topmost, it's the games at the end, isn't it? It's the actual games at the end. You see, you might have all this TV experience in there, but on top of that, it's got top Nintendo game exclusives on there as well, which makes even a bigger bonus on top of that. We are going to be talking about the Nintendo Switch games in a separate video. We're going to talk about which games are really big on this system individually and why are they big. But we know this TV experience is a pretty massive thing as well. It's making really good sales. It's doing that. But I'm thinking if the Nintendo Switch was just for TV, it probably wouldn't be able to make that much kind of sales. No. It's only doing that because it's got three game modes. Three. And that's why it's like that. If Nintendo Switch trying to go for one mode like the TV, then I think the Sony PlayStation and Microsoft Xbox Series X would have came forward. Can you see how these two systems are getting defeated? It's very difficult for them to come forward. It's impossible, man. It's impossible. Because we know the Nintendo Switch is not that powerful for TV. Originally, the system was only 720p HD. Think about that. But the TV was 1080p HD, wasn't it? It wouldn't be enough because the power of the hardware it uses, it wouldn't be enough for the customers to enjoy. I mean, let's just look at as third-party games. I don't really think anybody would have bought this system for third-party games, man. Nobody would have done that. I don't think that would have worked out. Because a third party is tops for Sony PlayStation 5 and Microsoft Xbox Series X. But apparently, Nintendo is so smart. When the handheld mode became successful. Then the tabletop one became successful. Then finally, people decided to play on TV as well. The TV mode became hugely successful as well. Hmm. Can you see how this thing's getting even more popular? It kept on going from one mode to the next to the next. And even the TV mode on its own wouldn't do well. By using the other modes, when people use the handheld and tabletop, they finally decide to use the TV mode as well. Because of them two modes, the TV mode became very popular as well. And that TV mode is making a huge sales as well now. But if Nintendo used in Nintendo Switch TV mode on its own, I think the system wouldn't be that popular the way it is. It probably would have struggled. He used the mobile technology first to become very, very domination in the market. Because in the previous history of Nintendo's handhelds have been really popular, you see. And he used the same strategy in the Nintendo Switch. He turned the Nintendo Switch into a mobile device. It's basically just a screen, really, isn't it? And they just put G-Con controllers at the side. And that's how this system's what it's all about, really. And slowly, everything became popular. Basically, the way I'm telling you, you're probably getting confused because it wasn't actually like that. Yeah, you probably think like that. But basically, what Nintendo did, he just released Nintendo Switch with 3 game modes straight away. He put handheld, tabletop, and TV all in one. He did it like that. The mobile device, a handheld, tabletop to TV experience. That's why now the TV experience is becoming really popular as well. Slowly but slowly, do you see how it worked? Step by step. That's how it's gone really massive. Now it's unstoppable. Now, if you look at it, now what's happening? The TV mode in Nintendo Switch is gone really popular. It's gone popular as Sony PlayStation 5 and Microsoft Xbox X. Sony PS5 and Microsoft Xbox Series X. It's gone popular as them now. Now there is no stopping this system anymore. It's gone very popular indeed. In my previous video, I explained that there's other ways that you can get experiences like that. I already told that if you want a handheld mode, you could use the Fujitsu RSU smartphone. But for tabletop and TV experience, you could use a Fujitsu Stars Q7311 system. Now, bear in mind, when we buy a thing like Fujitsu RS5G for handheld experience, it's a very powerful device. It's very powerful. It's far more powerful than Nintendo Switch in terms of even a handheld. But when we look at in terms of tabletop and TV, the Fujitsu Stars Q7311, there's no competition, man. This system's very, very advanced. Yeah. It's not normal because Fujitsu doesn't make normal systems, do they? Both of their smartphone and the tablet systems, they're pretty powerful. You can't just beat them. Nintendo Switch is not even comparable. Now, I'm very surprised. Even with the Nintendo Switch, I always say this. There's not that many Nintendo game exclusives on there. Yeah. The most majority Nintendo game exclusives are on Nintendo GameCube. Trust me, there's more on there. There's quite a lot of them. I'm not going to go through them because I've been talking about them quite a lot. Now you know the Nintendo Switch TV mode, how it became successful slowly but slowly. It's just it's just a really good thing now for even TV. So I hope you guys understand what I'm saying today, and I'll give you depth knowledge on this system about the Nintendo Switch TV mode experiences, which is really, really impressive. So I think the Nintendo Switch is unstoppable force now, isn't it? Even for playing it on television. Yeah. So what can you say, really? A three game mode system, handheld, tabletop, TV. All of these modes are making sales from each mode. It's really, really amazing, isn't it? Now that is very hard to stop, isn't it? What can Sony and Microsoft do about it? I suppose nothing. They're not going to be able to do nothing. Nothing. Now, let's go some bit different now. If you're considering a Nintendo Switch, yeah, obviously it's dominating the market right now, yeah. But Nintendo Switch can get you a bit bored a bit, I think, because there's not that many games on there, right? We need to go on that side as well, because loads of people sometimes put it away. You need to add a Nintendo GameCube system on there, yeah. If I was you guys out there, I would buy a Panasonic Q games console. I will definitely buy that. Yeah. But if you guys buy the Panasonic Q games console, which has features a it's got multimedia and features from Panasonic. Then you got Nintendo game exclusive for your Nintendo GameCube. You're never gonna probably even gonna play your Nintendo Switch again. You probably wouldn't. Because the quality in the Nintendo GameCube you're gonna get on your Panasonic Q games console, it's gonna be amazing, man. Yeah, you probably will be back on your Panasonic Q playing Nintendo GameCube games. Trust me, if you bought one of them things, it probably put less interest on your Nintendo Switch because Nintendo Switch still don't own them games. It's still lagging on them games. It's not lagging. It's missing a lot of them games. You can get actually bored of it, you know. You probably could because there's not that many good titles on there, especially from the big Nintendo game exclusives, yeah, which Nintendo GameCube owns, yeah, from Nintendo game exclusives and even other developers, yeah. Nintendo GameCube owns one of the finest video games in gaming history, man. So anyway, that's that part as well. So the next part is that you already know, Nintendo Switch is doing really well for TV sales. So there you go. Give your likes, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.